It's kind of scary because you keep waiting for um, the challenge of having to, get your guys to regroup and move on to the next game. But I said this last week, and I'm going to say it again, and I just move on from the game. We are the frustration that exists, I think, is simply wanting to show everybody how well we can play, and we play 4 good quarters. Last week was the best 4-quarter game we played so far in terms of complementary football and the offense and the defense helping each other, special teams doing their job, and we had a few plays at the end there that didn't go our way, and so we are looking towards UTEP now, which is a very, very good defensive team. And then there's a little bit of mystery on offense because of the quarterback situation there, and so we probably won't know who we're defending until game time. But it's no different than the adversity we've been facing all season. So we're looking forward to game number 7. That's the only thing we're focused on. And the guys had a good practice yesterday, a good practice today, and we're going to try to polish this thing up tomorrow, and then we head back down to Houston.
All right, let's go to start taking some questions. We'll get the first question from Colton Foster.
Yeah, the UTEP defense is, I think, the best in Conference USA in total defense. So what's it going to take for your offense to kind of find a groove against this team?
We wanted to start fast last week. We didn't necessarily do that, but we did get into a groove and then played well after that. And I think starting fast against this defense is equally as important. I think one of the things that UTEP does defensively is they are extremely, extremely multiple, not just on the back end. We thought we were going to get multiple coverage looks last week. Thought we needed to be on point to handle that stuff. This week they are, they're a multiple front team, multiple pressure team, multiple coverage team, and so the preparation, especially in a short week with only 6 days, has been pretty intense because we've got to be on point again with regards to different defensive situations and where and how we're going to attack on offense.
Colin.
Hey, Coach. Just kind of what's been your impression with UTEP head coach Scotty Walden? He just seems like a guy that's really moving up. He's a very energetic, expressive guy. Just kind of what you make of him at his coaching.
Oh, Scotty and I have known each other for a little while. We know each other pretty well. We've spent some time together talking ball, and we've known each other, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years now. So I'm well aware how he coaches. He is a super energy guy. He is passionate about football. I think his players know that, and I think it rubs off on them. I think that's the way they approach it. At least that's the way it seems from their the energy that they have on the field and the way they play. So this is a challenging game for us because he's intelligent. They do they're pretty diverse and pretty multiple on both sides of the football, and that adds a little bit more of a mental challenge this week than I think it has in some of the past games.
Back over to Colton.
Yeah, last week, y'all were able to get more wide receivers involved. How do you kind of want to see that improve going against UTEP?
Well, you're exactly right. We got 7 or 8 people involved. Wasn't just the running backs. We moved them a little bit more. I thought Hunter made some really good decisions, and I thought we had a good plan. The offensive staff put together a good plan, and so it just we're able to spread the ball around and be a little bit more diverse, and that's really, you guys know this now. It's where we want to be offensively. We want the defense to have to defend each of our skill players. Even our tight end got involved last week, and so hopefully that trend continues. I know it will from a game planning standpoint, and I would expect for a higher number of players to touch the ball again this week.
Get a question from Fobbs.
Coach, when you go back and look at the tape, just kind of assess what you saw defensively, especially towards the end of the game against Jackson State. I'm sorry, not Jackson State. The guy who get mad against Jacksonville State. And then could you also just talk about the status of Jameer Diaz?
Jameer continues to get better. He was day-to-day last week. I didn't see the word. I don't know if he's questionable or probable this week, but it's another step forward. We actually had a good positive conversation about him this week, so it's still a wait and see deal, but I think we're a little bit more optimistic that he might have a chance to play this week than he did last week. With regards to the defense, I thought, we did some nice things schematically. I thought third down, we're a little better there for a while. We did a good job overall third down. That's an area that we want to improve on both sides of the football. And defensively, that's gotten better as the weeks have gone on. And we were a little opportunistic. I thought the quarterback did a good job of making us miss. The only disappointing area, I thought, just leaving the field before I even had a chance to watch the film, and then even after we watched the film, I thought it was a tougher game for us last week with open field tackling. Now, number 4 has a lot to do with that, right? That's one of the best running backs we're going to see the entire year. But nevertheless, if you want to slow a guy down like that, you've got to do a good job of tackling in the open field. And I don't think the D staff nor myself was happy with that aspect of our defensive play.
Thank you. Colin?
You talked about him a little bit earlier, Hunter Watson. How has he been able to, you said make those good decisions, improving? Is it just like him getting more comfortable with the offense, or it's just kind of once it comes, it comes?
It's a little both. I think he has a very good grasp. He had a good grasp in the spring. There were some things he wanted to work on and improve on, and things I wanted him to get better with, but he did that in the summertime. I don't think it's a matter of him understanding it, but there is a huge difference between understanding it on the board and being able to make decisions in a flash, in a split second, on the field in the face of adversity. That's a completely different deal. There are a lot of guys out there that can play quarterback on the board. There are far fewer that can. It's going to translate when they're on the field and they can make those same decisions. Drake May, Matt Corral, Jordan Ta'amu, Sam Howell, those guys were Jeremiah Briscoe. Those guys are special. They're different because what they could show you on the board and what they could express to you verbally, they could also execute on the field. And the game was slow to them because they understood so much, and it allowed them to know exactly what was going on defensively. And every quarterback goes through that learning curve, and this is Hunter's first year in the offense. But I think what's happening for him, the game is slowing down, especially the last 2 weeks. The game is slowing down. He understands what he's seeing. He's making better calls. And with that comes confidence. And, as corny and as cliche as this might sound, you're never going to be anywhere near as good as you can be if you're not playing with true, sincere confidence in yourself. Antoine Green was a wide receiver we had at UNC. He's playing wide receiver at Detroit Lions right now. And he was starting material for 3 years at North Carolina. And he started for 2 at North Carolina. But he was a freak show his senior year, and the only difference in that player wasn't the releases or the catches or the length or the speed or anything. It just was he came back his senior year after a great week, a year of preparation with extreme, sincere, inner confidence, and it just made him a different ball player. And I think that holds true for anybody. There's fake confidence, and that doesn't show up on the field in execution. And then there's real confidence because you put the work in and you've grinded, and Hunter has. And he's playing with sincere confidence right now, and I think that's why he's making better decisions and he's running the offense the way a quarterback needs to.
Bolton again?
Each week it feels like this offensive line continues to kind of improve. Now they're going against a UTEP defense that has 16 sacks and is, I think, 12th in the FBS. What do you kind of want to see from the guys up front in this one?
Well, this is one of the more challenging D-lines. They have a high number of sacks, high number of TFLs, high number of throw disruptions. So they are extremely active in the offensive backfield. Zero is a player. He is a player. 32 is a player. Those two guys are scheme changers. So you've got to know where they are on the field and what they're doing, and then you've got to be able to handle and manage this defensive line. They stunt well. They don't do a lot of exotic stuff, but what they do, they do very well. And they play aggressively, and they play with a lot of energy. Again, I think that's that's their head coach, and I'm sure that's the way their staff is asked to coach. And so they look like they're having a good time when they're out there, and they execute well. They're sharp. So it'll be a challenge for the O-line. They have gotten better from an efficiency standpoint from week to week. The one thing I do like about our O-line is they like a challenge, and they know this is going to be a challenge to play against the UTEP defensive line, and I think they, from a mental standpoint, they're up to the task.
Another one from Colin.
Yeah, so Coach, you're halfway through your first season as head coach in a long time. Just kind of, what have you learned so far? I mean, of course, results on the field, but what have you learned so far through this experience that you've been going on?
It's been interesting. It was 19 years since the last time I was a head coach. I think initially, and we talked about this in the spring, but there really isn't anything on the head coaching job description that's any different than what I had been doing for 19 plus, add on the 37 years I've been doing this, but the 19 years since I've been a head coach, there's not anything different on there. It's just things are on a much greater scope. I also think and I'm very, very, I told you this also, I'm very happy with the staff we hired, and it helps me in my, my daily life doing this job, being able to lean on and trust the staff that I have. In this day of the portal and rev share and all that stuff and 24/7, 365 days a year recruiting, it's very, very difficult to have your hand in the offense and be the head coach and then have to handle the fundraising and all that. And that's what I signed up for. I love what I do, but part of this job is having the confidence in your staff so you can delegate out the things that they can do well, that they can do even better than you can, so that you can focus in on your job description. So I'm a guy that wants to be a part of a lot. Delegating has not always been my strength. I lean on it a lot here. I'm not resistant to it, but it's made it easier knowing how much I trust this coaching staff. I would tell you the other thing. There's some small things, right? We have these iPads now on the sideline. Well, I'm used to sitting down after an offensive drive and fishing through it, and we map out our plan for the next drive, and I can't do that here. So I'm learning to like the TV timeouts. I'm learning to like the clock stoppages because it gives me an opportunity to go coach a little bit. But I've got to be back on the sideline when the defense takes the field, and so there are little things like that I'm working out as the season goes on. I have a guy that helps me with game management. I've got a guy that runs a number of different things during the game, so we're on top of it all. I like our plan. The plan that we have to manage the game gets better every week, just like our team does, and I'm very, very confident in where we're going. I tell our players all the time there's some really good things going on behind the scenes in this program that excite me and excite our staff, and we're dying to tell our players, and I'm dying to tell you guys. It's just some things that take a little time and they have to wait, but I know what's coming. I know where we're going, and in the meantime, we're going to keep the blinders on and get ready for each individual game. And then when the season's over, we'll take care of business in a slightly different way.
Get another from Colton.
Just Caleb Black, Shane Porter, Quentin Williams have all been taken off the roster. I'm just curious if there's anything you'd say yes to that.
No, those are individual situations for those three. We wish all three of them well. We want them to do well and be successful in their life, and if we can help them moving forward, we will. Those are just individual situations. Each of those three are different, and so we just kind of handle them privately with respect to the players.
Anything else, guys? All right, Coach, we'll let you go. Again, kickoff 6 o'clock this Wednesday. Sam Houston against UTEP on CBS Sports Network, Shell Energy Stadium. Thanks, guys.
All right, see you there. Thank you.